video, we're going to start from the very beginning. What fractions really mean. Fractions can feel intimidating at first, especially if it's been a while since you've worked with them. But don't worry, once you understand what they represent, the rest will make a lot more sense. A fraction is just a way to show a part of a whole. The numerator, or the top number in the fraction, tells you how many parts you have. The denominator, or the bottom number in the fraction, tells me how many equal parts make up the whole. Let's look at an example. Let's suppose we have a pizza, and let's suppose we cut that pizza into 8 equal slices. We then suppose we eat 3 of them. So I'll go ahead and shade 3 of them to represent how many pieces we have eaten. So we've eaten 3 out of 8 slices, or 3/8. 3 is how many parts we have eaten, and 8 tells us how many equal parts made up the full pizza. That's all a fraction is. It's a ratio or division that tells us how much of something you have compared to the total. Another way to think about fractions is as a division problem. 3/4 means 3 divided by 4. If we had 3 cookies and we wanted to share them evenly among 4 friends, each person would get 3/4 of a cookie. Thinking of fractions as division can help when you start doing more advanced operations later on. Let's try a few examples to look at what different fractions can mean using these different definitions. First, what fraction is shaded if 2 out of 3 parts are shaded? It might be easier to draw a picture. When we draw pictures to represent fractions, we can do circles, squares, rectangles, or really any other shape. We do know that there are 3 parts in my rectangle here. And we know that 2 of them are shaded, so I will go ahead and color in 2 of these. So the fraction that's represented, we have 2 pieces, whereas 3 make up the whole, so 2/3. My next question, what does 5/2 mean? There are 2 ways I can think about this. First, I'm going to think in terms of shaded pieces. The 2 on the denominator means that each of my wholes is cut up into 2 equal pieces. The 5 on the top means I need 5 of these pieces. So this means I'm going to have more than 1. Here, I went ahead and drew 3 of my circles. So if I wanted to shade 5/2, I would need to shade 5 of these pieces. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we have 2 wholes and half of the final one. So this is 2.5. Another way we could have thought about this is 5 divided by 2. Using long division, 2 goes into 5 2 times. 2 times 2 is 4. And then we subtract 5 minus 4 is 1. So we have 2, and then 1 extra out of 2. So both ways we do get 2.5. Next, let's look at which is bigger, 3/4 or 2/3. Let's go ahead and draw a picture for each of these. Let's start with 3/4. I went ahead and drew a rectangle with 4 equal pieces, and then the 3/4 tells me I should shade 3 of these pieces. So that represents my 3/4. Let's do something similar with 2/3. Here, I have my unit cut into 3 pieces, and I need to shade 2 of those. So there is my 2/3. But if I look closely and compare these, I can see that the 3/4 bar has just a little bit extra shaded. So 3/4 is going to be larger than 2/3. A few mistakes that trip people up a lot. First, thinking a bigger denominator means a bigger piece, but it's actually the opposite. If we think about something like 1/2 and 1/3, 1/2 will cut it up into 2 equal pieces, whereas 1/3 will cut it up into 3 equal pieces. Since the 1/3 cut it up into more pieces, each of those pieces is going to be smaller. So the bigger denominator means a smaller piece, since we're cutting something up into more individual pieces. Another common mistake is forgetting that the numerator and denominator must describe equal parts. Fractions only make sense when the whole is divided evenly. As an example of what we mean, let's look at this here. While this square is divided up into 3 pieces, with one of them shaded, this is actually not correct, because those pieces are not equal. However, if I were to draw an extra line over here, now all of my pieces are equal. I have 4 equal pieces, and one of them is shaded. So this would actually represent 1/4, even if this new line I drew was not there. Another common mistake is dealing with fractions like 3 divided by 3 or 4 divided by 4. My definition using division says that this is the same thing as 3 divided by 3, which is 1. And this is always going to be true if the numerator and denominator are the same. Then my final answer would be 1. If fractions ever feel confusing, try drawing them. A quick sketch like a pie, a bar, even a stack of blocks can help you see what's happening much more clearly than the numbers alone. You've just built the foundation for everything else we'll do with fractions. If you can picture what a fraction means, you can handle adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing them, no problem. You've got this. Let's keep going.